with our, thank you. We will be starting with our name and our organization affiliation. We will have time a little bit later to do our agency updates. So we've got some great updates coming forward. I do know that. So let's go around the room real quick and state who you are. And while you're stating that, the icebreaker question today is, where would you be living if you're not living where you're at? So let's start at the top of my screen anyway, is Mr. Jeff.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeff McFadden. I'm the System of Care Coordinator for Bridgeway's West Central Illinois ROSC. And I would have to say it'd have to be somewhere warm. Off the top of my head, I've really enjoyed the Phoenix, Arizona area. I don't mind Florida, but sometimes that can be too aggressive with the heat and all. So I would probably find a safe median like Knoxville, Tennessee. If my wife would give me permission.
There's always that. Thank you, Jeff. Jimmy, how are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Jimmy Benevolanto. I'm the Community Relations Representative with Chestnut Health Systems. I'm here in Bloomington. And let's see, I would probably choose to live in the San Diego, La Jolla area, and then know that I can come back to Illinois to experience a little bit of winter, just a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy. Cammie, how are you today?
I am great, thank you. I am Cammie Garrison. I'm the Region 3 Technical Assistant with Chestnut, and I would live west, like Montana.
Thanks, Cammie. Carrie, how about you?
Good afternoon, everyone. Carrie Knapp, Associate Director of Community Health, helping support the Livingston ROSC. It's great to be on here today. I have always had a heart for Sedona, Arizona. I don't know if any other folks on this call have been there before, but it is beautiful and I would live there in a minute.
That is great. Erin, how are you today?
Hello, folks. Hi, my name is Erin Fogarty. I'm with Livingston County Health Department. And honestly, this is going to sound real cheesy, but I love Livingston County. My family is here. I love having the 3 to 4 seasons, depending on what kind of year it is around here. And I love that we have some of the most rich soil in the entire world. Literally, we do our part to help feed the world around here. If you had to force my hand, I'm heading over to Ireland to hang out there for a bit if I had to get away to someplace else, but I really love where I live.
Thank you. Teresa, how are you today?
Hi, I'm good. I am Teresa Deemer. I work at IHR Counseling, and I'm kind of with Erin. I do like the change of season, but if I could live maybe 6 months out of the year, at least be able to like have a permanent home somewhere else, I'd probably do the Phoenix Mesa area, or even like the outskirts of the Strip in Las Vegas. I like that dry heat.
Thanks, Teresa. Beverly, how are you today?
Good afternoon. I'm good. For those of you who don't know, I am the Region 5 Technical Assistant Specialist for the statewide ROSC. If I could live anywhere, it would be probably Florida. We have a vacation home there, and that's been our goal, is to retire to that area. So in a few years.
All right. Thank you. Abby, how are you today?
Hi, I'm good. I'm Abby Behrens, and I'm with Brightpoint with the Butterfly Project. And I would definitely live in San Diego, specifically like the La Jolla community. It is just so beautiful there. I love the weather. It's just perfect. But I also would need to win the lottery because it's really expensive there. So, but that's where you'll find me one day, hopefully.
All right. Thank you. Eric, how are you today?
I'm good. Eric Munn from Livingston County Probation. If I had to live somewhere, I'd live in southern Utah. where you can go see all 5 of the national parks and hike and do whatever. It's beautiful in that area.
Awesome. Caroline, how about you?
Hi, everybody. I'm Caroline. I am the case manager at the Salvation Army here in Pontiac. I can't say that I would choose to live anywhere else. I used to live in Texas, and to me, there's just no place like home.
All right, thank you. Melissa?
Hi, I'm Melissa from Lifesill. I'm the community living advocate. And if I could live anywhere else, it would be somewhere in those Smoky Mountains, Tennessee area. That's my favorite place to go, most relaxing.
Awesome, thank you. Julie, can you hear us?
I can hear you okay, John. Julie Pullman, I'm with the statewide ROSC. I'm the TA for Region 4. Thanks for having me today. Where would I be living? Goodness, someplace warm and tropical. That's all I can say. I don't want anybody following me, but I'm going warm and tropical.
Thanks, Julie. How about you, Bree? Bree tells us she would go to Ireland or Croatia. That's a stretch. That's a little farther than any of the rest of us. That's even a little bit more than San Diego. So, I mean, that's awesome. Those are never been. Would love to go to Ireland, though. That sounds good. And I believe everyone has answered. If you have not, would you please let me know? And my name is John Schneider. I am the recovery specialist for Livingston County ROSC. I'm a Ford County resident, and I think I really enjoy I know I really enjoy the seasons, but somewhat over Illinois. And I think you know, somewhere southern Missouri, Tennessee, Kentucky, the Smokies, that is something that I think I can still enjoy the seasons and move along a little bit. So Caroline has agreed to talk to us briefly about housing updates and our ROSC calendar. So Caroline, if you're ready, would you please enlighten us?
Yeah, we don't have too many updates to the ROSC calendar. Our subcommittees did meet last Wednesday, and the main thing we focused on was the September recovery event. We're talking about having it indoors. We're looking at the rec center in Pontiac. And the possible dates for that are September 14th and September 28th. I'm not sure if there have been any updates to people looking into that, but as of Wednesday, that was our goal, was to plan an event for either of those 2 dates. Other than that, I don't think we had anything new added to the calendar, so I'm not going to pull it up. But John did ask me to speak a little bit United Way as well about the homelessness issue that's going on in Livingston County. I don't really know what has happened over the last month, but we have seen a crazy uptick of people calling us and telling us that they're homeless, needing help, either with finding housing, finding temporary shelter, or food and items to ease their homelessness a little bit. And what does that look like? That's hygiene, mats to sleep on, you know, food items that they can eat outside. You know, you can't give them meat and stuff like that because it's not gonna stay. But in April, we saw a total of 31 people contact us about having nowhere to go. Unfortunately, we don't have any grant funding right now for our temporary shelter program. We do have some FEMA money coming through hopefully soon, but who knows when that will actually drop into our account. And that's only going to be $13,000, which seems like a lot of money, but the hotel situation right now is about $600 a week. So that money is going to go fast, especially if somebody needs more support than just 1 week long, which often they do. So we're kind of scrambling. We're trying to find creative solutions as to how do we fix this problem, or at least where do we put these people? Because there's really nowhere for them to go. There's no shelter, as we all know. The Fiesta Motel, which is a place that we used to rely on quite a bit, is now becoming more of a Palomar situation, because I do believe that most of those Palomar residents moved over to the Fiesta, and the Fiesta has become more of a permanent housing for some people, actually for all the people that live there, really. And their rent is about $900 a month, which is crazy considering it's a room with no hot water. I don't have a lot more to say on this issue. I like to open this up to discussion. If anybody has anything they would like to say about it, or any suggestions, any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Unfortunately, also, I wanted to say the housing authority is not being much help. I do have a client right now who I have been housing in an Airbnb since January. She's been 5th on the list for housing since January. So that's not moving very quickly. And they are not really a great resource to rely on to help this problem. So I'm open up to discussion on this right now if we'd like.
Caroline, with your list of property owners, is there any leeway on rent from other agencies for actual housing and apartments that they have available, or are they just completely full?
The issue with that is a lot of private landlords are now requiring first month's, last month's, and security deposit for people to move in. So, you know, say their monthly rent is $900. That's $900 times 3 that these folks have to come up with. We have rent and utility assistance funding. It's slowly, or not slowly, quickly running out. We have to spend it by June 30th. So that's quickly approaching as well. And it takes a while for us to get that program started again once those funds are depleted. It's through the IDHS homeless prevention. And typically we try to cap assistance at $1,500 per client on rent assistance, just because it could get out of hand if we don't. And this year we received about $72,000 to help with this, and had we not put a cap on it, we would have already been out of money for sure. There is, you know, some apartments like Lincolnshire that is the most affordable in town. Their rent ranges from $500 to $600 a month, but those are just 1-bedroom or studio apartments, and they are not child friendly. They do not want children there, which really inhibits a lot of people.
When you say $1,500 a month per client, is that a single individual or a family or everything in between, or how does that work?
So it wouldn't be a month, I'm sorry. It would be one-time assistance.
I'm sorry, one time.
Yes. So if somebody's moving into an apartment, you know, we can cover $1,500 of that, however much they owe. And that's going to be, you know, for anybody, singles or families. It doesn't matter how many people are in the family. Sometimes we'll get the Homeless Coalition to foot a little bit of that bill, so we can kind of, you know, our $1,500 will go further. But a lot of times the clients end up being responsible for some of that money.
So in the folks that you're seeing, are you seeing individuals that are recently justice involved, returning from rehabilitation or incarceration?
Sometimes, a lot of the time we see people that are not from here coming here to find a better life, find housing. They think that moving to a smaller town is going to be easier, but we just have less resources. So as far as the coming from rehabilitation centers, I don't know. That's not something that we've screened for. I've recently been working on a homeless assessment form that I am trying to, my goal for it is to have contact with all homeless people in Livingston County and have them fill out this form so we know who they are, where they come from, and what their needs are. And there are questions on this form about previous substance use or if they are coming from like recovery housing.
Do you have, what is that acronym that I've heard in the last several meetings, the ALICE acronym? What does that stand for? Do you have that information?
Yeah, so that's more of Deb Howard's cup of tea. That's the United Way's acronym. It's ALICE, Asset Limited Income Constrained Employed. So that's going to be people that are just above the poverty line, people that are working, but they're not making enough to make those ends meet. I have the data here. In Pontiac alone, 48% of the population is ALICE or below. So that includes poverty level plus those ALICE people. So that's almost half the population of Pontiac.
And so that's a pretty fair representation of the entire county.
Yeah.
Okay. So are there, I know that, we focus and we should focus on the individuals. This is what the ROSC is for, with substance use disorder and mental health issues. In your screening that you will roll out or attempt to roll out, will those two categories be listed, or is that something that you can even ask about?
Yeah, they're already listed there. It's under the guys that we are screening to best help each person. So, they don't have to answer that honestly. And a lot of times I feel when I have these conversations with people, they probably aren't being totally honest because they think that maybe we aren't going to help them if they have substance abuse issues or, mental health issues and things like that. So my hope with and I have it right here, my homelessness assessment is what I'm calling it. If they're able to write it down privately and I look at it privately, that they'll be more honest about it. And then maybe we can have an open conversation about, okay, where do you need to go? Do we need to look into those kinds of resources? It also helps if, they tell me they have a substance issue and I'll keep them away from the Fiesta because that place is just not good for people in recovery at all.
Okay. Does anyone else have anything to add to what Caroline has brought today?
I can add that we've had good luck working with Doug Mashing. And he rents a house in Bloomington to Chestnut, I believe, that they use kind of as a recovery home for people getting discharged. So he may be willing to rent a apartment or 2 or 3 in a house. He's got several houses around that are divided into apartments. Now I know that not many apartments are available in town, so it might take him a little while to get them emptied out. But he may be willing to work with you and rent you an apartment or 2 that you could use, have people move in and out of there as they need them. But we do that for drug court. We have 2 apartments that we rent from him. So
Interesting. Okay, we worked with him before, but I didn't know that he was open to talking about stuff. So
yeah, I think he would be open to talk about something like that. So he has been very helpful for us. So
awesome. There is an apartment building that's being remodeled right now, right behind the Salvation Army. I think it's like a 4 apartment unit. I've heard, I don't know how true this is, that the person that's remodeling it is going to sell it for like $180,000. It's something that we've talked about here at the Army. Like, what if we were able to get a hold of this unit and we could use it as transitional housing? a safe place that's close to us that we could monitor. That's a pipe dream for sure. A little more realistic than, trying to open up a huge shelter, but something that we're thinking about, and that property will be becoming available soon. Just something I like to throw out there.
So this, I don't know that we have any good quick fixes around here. I think, everybody on call is aware of that, but thinking kind of longer term here. I think it's important to kind of remind ourselves the importance of reaching out to legislators and letting them know this is the issues that we're having, and we desperately need funding. We desperately need solutions. I know Jason Bunting, who is one of the representatives overseeing Livingston County. He has a survey out currently available on his website where he's trying to collect some feedback as to what are we seeing as the most important issues there. I shared with Tina yesterday that I had sent on her email. A number of you may have been a part of this. It was maybe a month or so ago, sent out an email from Tina Hammer with Salvation Army, detailing some of the challenges that Caroline was speaking to here. And we made sure to forward that on to Jason Bunting, Dennis Tipsword, and Representative Bennett there, or I'm sorry, Senator Bennett there. But just kind of putting that plug in there that, as many times as they can hear from community members that this is what's most important right now. I think that's important.
Yeah, I'm doing my hardest to just start talking about it as much as possible. We actually did an interview with WGLT in Bloomington, and they're going to do a story on it about rural homelessness in general, but kind of focusing on what's going on in Livingston County, because of course, homelessness in rural communities looks a lot different than it does in a city, and even in Bloomington Normal. You don't see people holding signs outside here. You can't go around and find these people. They're hiding in other people's homes, or, under bridges, behind Walmart, in the Fiesta, because I count those people as homeless. So we're trying to get the word out as much as possible. And, I'm free to talk about it whenever, because I'm very passionate about the issue, and it's getting really difficult to, see these people every day and not have a place to put them.
I love hearing that you connected with WGLT, because yes, they seem to have a series going on the topic of homelessness.
Yeah.
But obviously it is typically concentrated in the Bloomington Normal, McLean County area. So love hearing that connection happen.
Hey, Caroline.
Yes.
Can I sneak in here real quick?
Sure.
Is like Palin's, are all their apartments full, or like Weber's over in Fairbury?
I don't know. We don't search for the apartments for people. We don't have an open communication with a lot of landlords. My best relationship is with Lincolnshire. But landlords aren't, really coming to us saying, hey, I have places to rent. And a lot of times they have they don't really want to work with us, or they're kind of skeptical of our clientele.
Okay. I just wanted to check on that. And then something, another resource that I'm not 100% is still a resource and would only work if the person was working. If you have someone come in that's already in a home but needs rental assistance, and they do have a job, but maybe something happened. A lot of years ago, someone sent me to Ken at Ken's Oil in Forest, Illinois. I don't know if he does it through something else, like a different program or something, but that's where they sent me, was to his office there. And he did help me with rental assistance, but I had to show that, I was going to be okay, that it was just something where I was out of work for a couple weeks due to a sickness, and they did assist me with rent. So just another option to maybe look into. I probably should have mentioned that at social services yesterday.
Yeah, I've never heard of him, but I'll look into that for sure.
Yeah, feel free to message me anytime, Caroline, because I can try to help you get access to some of these other places that do income-based housing. Because I was a single mom for a lot of years. So I was looking, like, if I wanted to move to a different area or whatever, I did look for some other options besides just Livingston County Housing Authority. So I may be able to like help you find some of those if you would like.
Great, that'd be awesome.
Okay, and let's also be mindful of homelessness. Includes folks that are maybe sheltered from couch to couch, maybe living in vehicles. They still qualify as homeless. Through the LCCCY conversations a couple months ago, we learned about high school students and elementary school students who are considered homeless because their families are couch hopping as well or staying in cars. So that those individuals do fit in that category as well. I hate to say category, but that's what it is. And you know, the whys to some of this is what the ROSC can help with as well. As far as the ALICE acronym that Caroline mentioned, you know, a lot of folks, and including folks in this call today, if we're two income families, and if a spouse were to lose that paycheck, we would qualify, whether we're in Livingston County or Ford County or you know, Sangamon County, it doesn't matter, McLean County, we would fit in that category as well, or easily could. So it's close to home. Any other additions or comments in this topic? If not, we will move on. I wanted to touch briefly on our gap analysis that our 2024 fiscal year 2024 gap analysis. You'll see on the first page, you know, transportation was at the top. We go to the next page and we have sober living. Sober living fits right into the categories that we just discussed. We have an overall lack of capacity for sober living in Livingston County, and minimal rent or deposit assistance for those who do find a bed or a day room or an apartment or a house or whatever it might be. Increased capacity for sober living, more homes and beds, and rent assistance for people with substance use disorder, including opioid use disorder and including mental health scenarios. And citizens in the first year of recovery stand a much better chance of success if we can help with a place to stay. So through our recovery and action subcommittee that's getting refired and already rolling along and growing some steam, the recovery and action subcommittee within the ROSC, these are part of the things as we interview people and as we gather names and gather you know, hand out information, not just for the ROSC, but all of our agencies. You know, these are part of the things we need and we will start compiling as well. Sober living does not include, well, it does include individuals, but it also can include families. You know, doing a little research, as Caroline expressed about that home, that 3 or 4 unit home behind the Salvation Army. I mean, if that's 2 or 3 people, my goodness, that's 2 or 3 people. We discussed over a year ago now in a ROSC council meeting about Oxford houses. And I believe the individual that Eric brought up, I think that might be part of that affiliation, is like an Oxford type home. Not positive on that, but you know, it's a possibility. And that type of scenario is somewhat easier to bring to a rural area like Livingston County or our surrounding area. An Oxford home, just by example, uses the accountability of the individuals in the home. And I don't know if all of you were on this call a year or so ago or not, but if you have a house that could house 6 or 7 up to 9 females or up to 9 males, that has adequate bathroom and bed facilities, each person is held accountable for a portion of their responsibility. including working some sort of recovery program, including, you know, who takes out the garbage, who collects the money for the bills, who pays the bills, you know, who does dishes, who does meals, things like that. So building that thing, you know, that accountability piece that so many of us take for granted in our own homes, or maybe how we were raised, or opportunities we've been given. You know, I didn't have to stay in a reentry facility when I entered recovery, but I spent some time in my truck, and I was always just thankful I had a truck. I didn't look at it as being homeless, but you know, back then there was none of this stuff going on, and we have opportunities in front of us to help individuals, whether that be an Oxford home necessarily, but something like it, that we could help throughout the county. And so, like I said, the Recovery and Action Subcommittee, part of their goal is to help Caroline and the rest of us and the rest of our agencies and probation and whoever it might be, to gather some of this information and see if those avenues or if those opportunities are closer than what maybe we think they are. And if we go on to the next slide, we've got substance use disorder education and awareness. You know, we talk about stigma, and we talk about all of these things, and this housing situation folds into that as well. Educating for Change Subcommittee, learning, you know, teaching the community about these needs. We're not trying to be all sad and down in the mouth about the needs of Livingston County, but we all need to be aware. It doesn't matter where we work or what we do. The awareness situation and that education piece is huge. And so as the Educating for Change Subcommittee continues to grow and roll out this type of information, this is part of the education piece, the transportation, the housing, as well as the education piece about hope and about the already great meetings that are available, the outreaches that are available, and all of us that are working toward this. You know, the more I hear about what probation is doing and what drug court is doing, it's like those are wins that you don't see in a lot of rural counties. You know, it's just not throwing people away. It is building them back up. So part of our Education for Change piece is actually showing, you know, that it's not just all doom and gloom, that there are people with their hands out, palms up, not trying to grab people, but trying to show that there's that hope and that there are opportunities. And there again, the total awareness, if we go to the next page, of in our gap analysis, the awareness of existing resources. This is full, you know, this meeting, not big in numbers this month, but this meeting is full of opportunities for those with substance use disorder and mental health issues. So good work to everyone. Thank you all for sharing in that. And that was the sort of the purpose of asking, where would you go if you weren't staying here? If you were going to retire, if you win the lottery, that was mentioned, where would you want to go? Very few people on this call today said, very few, not everyone, said they wanted to go somewhere else. And Aaron, I kudos to you for loving where you're at and wanting to stay where you're at. I'd like to go other places. I don't think my family's ever going to allow that, and I'm okay with that if that's how it turns out. But the individuals that we're talking about today don't have that choice. And if we don't continue to come together, maybe they never will. So the choice that they're looking for today is a dry spot, maybe some food, something that's warm in the winter and cooler in the summer. That's not a car. A 73 GMC pickup truck is not a place to be in the middle of August. I remember that well. Maybe to grab onto a little bit of emotion today, with where we're going with where would you like to be, and all of the individuals that we see out there, they would like to be where we're at. And let's try to remain mindful of that. With that, I want to mention that we have all the material now to put together summer bags for our friends and neighbors that are homeless. And so if you would like to assist with putting together the summer bags in the next week or so, please reach out and we'll set a definite date. We will be doing that in Pontiac, venue yet to be determined, to put together summer bags for our friends and neighbors that don't that are in need. So we want to talk about, we're gonna talk about our agency updates, but I really want to kick off our agency updates today with our overdose and recovery walk 5K race that takes place the day after tomorrow in Marsh Park. So if there's someone here from IHR, and I think Teresa's still on the call, if we could have someone from IHR enlighten us a little more about what's going on Saturday. Put you on the spot.
Sure. Thanks, John. Well, I haven't really been involved too much directly with the planning, but I believe registration, I'm looking at the flyer too to make sure I'm correct. I think you can, if you're coming and you want to bring your agency and have a table, you're more than welcome. I think they're asking to have that set up at 8 o'clock. Registration for the walkers and runners are about 8:30, and then the race is about 9. And then from there, and I apologize, I don't have the schedule in front of me, but we've got a person with lived experience, Rhonda, who sometimes is on this call, and she's very involved in some of the subcommittees. She's going to be our speaker. There's going to be raffles. There's going to be some giveaways, I believe. And then we're hoping to kind of have everything wrapped up by noon. So again, that's in Marsh Park on Saturday. So everybody's welcome. I kind of plan just to come over just to say hi, because I haven't talked to a lot of you guys in a while. But yeah, it should be a fun event. I think they said they had close to 50 people registered already.
That is great information. Yeah. And the kids fun run, if you've got children, starts at 11. I think looks like that might be the last event. So yeah, the 5K run and 1 mile walk starts at 9. Continuing checkup, prizes, gift cards. There's going to be the ROSC will be represented there as well, with the ROSC table, and the recovery in action will be there also. And so some great opportunities to come together and see what IHR and others are doing for this. And how long has this been going on, Teresa, with the original facilitators? It's 7 or 8 years, is that correct?
It might even be longer than that. I've got like pictures and stuff from way back for the first one. So yeah, it's probably 8 to 10 years ago. What happened, there's a family over in Fairbury whose brother, he struggled with alcohol for a long time, and then he ended up getting into heroin and he overdosed. So his family started this many years ago, and then it kind of course, with COVID, it kind of pulled back a little bit. And I think just last year we kind of she kicked it back off again. So she wanted to step away from doing it. So we've taken it over for this year, and we'll kind of see how it goes and what the plan is for next year.
Awesome. Thank you very much for sharing. That's great. A great event. I was privileged to be there last year, and it was amazing. There was a lot of tears because of those who lost their lives to overdose, but there was a lot of hope and a lot of victory spoken at that event. And it's a great event. And will even be bigger and better this year. So, and we'll move on to agency updates. So we can go around the call, and whoever's got something they'd like to share about what their agency are doing, or what's going on. And please remember that if you shared your information with us, we will share it with everyone else as well. So whoever would like to go first.
I can just continue since I was talking, if that's okay. I have some sort of good news. Well, it's very good news. So our funders, as some of the rest of you individuals on the call, is super substance use prevention and recovery. And about a month or two ago, we got a call stating that you're overbilling. And so we're like, okay, well, what do we do? Do we have to stop seeing clients? What do you want us to do? And so they finally came out in the last 2 weeks that they've reallocated money. So the agencies that are underbilling, they have moved that money to those of us that are overbilling and gonna kind of even us out a little bit. So that was super great news. There was a call this morning right before I hopped on this. The only other thing I wanted to mention as you guys were talking, there's National Night Out. John, you've done that event. It's a great event. Erin brings her big tent. It's such a fun event. So that is August 6th. I was just texting the officers, the chief of police up in Dwight, and we are invited to that again. So kind of put that on the back of your minds, and maybe we can add that to Caroline's list or the calendar that she keeps up with. I think that's all I have.
Thanks, Teresa.
I'll piggyback off Teresa here. Just to give everyone a quick update, because I know ROSC was involved in the Party in the Park for Prevention event that unfortunately had to be canceled this last Saturday. So we are trying to reschedule that for June 8th. I am still having some replies trickle in here. Right now, it's a 50-50 split as to the responses in that, and I'm not quite sure what to do with that yet. So I'm hoping to get a few more responses, so it leans heavier one way or the other. But I will be notifying everyone by no later than tomorrow afternoon with a final decision as to whether or not we'll reschedule for June 8th. The other thing that I want to let people know about, and kind of going into, as John mentioned, you know, the focus of this group, we understand, is to assist individuals that are struggling with substance use disorder and other behaviors related to that, but and having the discussion about housing and how that ties into that. And one thing that I want to remind folks is we also have a huge oral health problem here in Livingston County. We are the 4th largest geographical county here in Illinois, as we're all aware of, and we have no Medicaid providers. I have been trying to do some outreach with some of our providers and encouraging them and recruiting them to become a Medicaid provider here in Livingston County, and encountering a lot of resistance. So this is my personal plea to ask anybody, if you are headed out to your own personal dentist appointment and this is something that you know is important and you don't mind advocating for, if you wouldn't mind putting in a quick plug for us and saying, hey, Livingston County Health Department is really trying to get some Medicaid providers on board. Erin Fogarty would love a chance to talk with you just for even 5-10 minutes. I'm happy to bring lunch for their entire staff. It's one of the only grant opportunities that has allowed me to purchase lunch for these kind of things. But just anything that y'all could do to help us get the word out for that and advocate for a huge chunk of our population that currently doesn't have access to that. We discussed this yesterday at our LCHD staff meeting, and our maternal and child health staff notified us that all of their clients are now being referred up to Chicago, even for preventative services. Chicago is our closest location. I know Pontiac Township, or I'm sorry, the Pontiac schools have an oral health bus that's coming around sometime here in the next couple of weeks. It comes twice a year. But they informed us of that the vast majority of kids, that is strictly prevention and cleanings, the vast majority of kids leave with a slip of paper saying that they need more critical attention. So just putting that plug out there.
Can I ask Erin a question? Well,
Sure.
really 2 questions. One question was, is there going to be like a health and wellness fair at all in Livingston County? Do you guys do that at all?
Well, we have not been in charge of that. Prior to COVID, there were a number of senior fairs that took place. I know we have kind of every other year, every 3 years, county one for just county employees. That's a health and wellness fair. But as far as a general health and wellness fair for Livingston County residents as a whole, I'm not aware of any event like that that's ever really taken place without a targeted population where they're really trying to reach. So I don't know if that really answers your question, but I will tell you the Livingston County Health Department has no plans at this time of a large scale health and wellness fair.
That's okay. I just wanted to ask because I knew they used to have some stuff there for senior. I did know it was seniors before, but yeah. And then my other thing would be, so I know you're looking for dentists and things, but would it be of value to you to sit down with like OSF and ask them well, really, would it be of value to you to go to Gibson City Hospital and ask them how they put a dental unit in their hospital and see if OSF would be willing to do that? Because I live in Ford County, which some of you may or may not know. And so at one point in time, that was where I could go to get dental services. And the really nice thing about it was, if for some reason those Medicaid cards or Medicare cards and stuff did not take care of the service, you could apply for basically the same assistance like you would at a hospital if you were unable to pay, and they were more apt to set up payment plans too. If you didn't want to do that and felt that you made enough money, you just needed to break it down into payments. So I didn't know if that's something to maybe look into. If there's dentists that aren't willing to do it, maybe the hospital would get on board and do something like that. But I think you would have to talk to someone and know a lot of stuff before you went in there with that, which is why I would recommend them. They started out with 2 dentists over there, and I think they're up to 4 now. And it still, I think, takes 2 months to get in. But they take all insurances. It's just if you have regular insurance, you usually are not in network there. But yeah, I mean, it's just something that would be a thought maybe if you can't find any dentists in town.
Yeah, and just to give everyone a very, very brief background as to some different options we've explored. We have explored oral health mobiles. We have explored getting funding for a clinic, just as what Melissa is describing there. And then talking with the state, we run into a number of obstacles that at this time don't really allow us to do that. Part of which is they have funded a number of these kind of facilities across the state. And they are running into issues just finding providers to work in those facilities, because providers find it more beneficial to have their own practice than it is to work in these types of practices. So there has been a lot of money invested in some brick and mortar kind of opportunities where they could bring in some Medicaid providers, and they can't get the providers there. And so right now, our best, most efficient use of everybody's time and money is to try and best work with the providers that we currently have here. And for individuals that aren't aware, all of our neighboring counties have started to block off access to those resources from Livingston County residents because they're so over inundated with their own residents that have Medicaid needs there. So you have to show proof of residency to access services in our neighboring counties. And I know the resources that we are referring clients to up in Chicago. We recently had a client that she's not getting in until November, and she just scheduled her appointment last week. So huge time delays in that. Certainly worth conversations. We have OSF Community Health Needs Assessment meeting coming up this Monday, and I plan on bringing that to the attention of OSF as a major need in our area. But I know that this is something that they've looked at in the past, kind of like childcare. You know, they used to do that same kind of thing, but in working with the state and dealing with some of the funding issues that go along with that, OSF pulled back on those kind of resources, and I would imagine it would be much the same with something along the lines of oral health there. But I will certainly be exploring that, and I appreciate your thoughts on that, Melissa. Thank you.
All right, great conversation. Any other agency updates? Going once, going twice? All right. Final questions, comments, or thoughts? Going once, going twice.
John, I can probably find you a space here to put those bags together. I can't 100% say I could help with it because we just got to do a lot of shifting here. But if you need a room, depending on the night, I could probably find space for you.
All right, that sounds great. Let's get Saturday out of the way, and I'll be in touch first part of the week, and we'll see what we can put together. We'll have a bags party. I don't know, something. But it should
Let
take.
me know, John, because if I'm available, I will come help you with some bags if it's up there in Pontiac on a day that I'm up there.
Sure, that sounds great.
Thank you.
All that is awesome. I've got boxes full of goodies to put in those bags. So Again, find us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Livingston County ROSC, and Livingston County ROSC at Gmail. Don't forget our virtual resource guide will take you to everything ROSC involved in Livingston County. And also I still have some binders. So if you need the handheld paper binder in an 1.5-inch binder for your agency or as an individual, I've still got some of those to distribute. I'd be happy to bring those around in the next week or so. Team contact myself, John Schneider, at my email address, Carrie Knapp, our Associate Director of Community Health, who is always hosting our wonderful council meetings each month. We thank her for that and her time involved in this. And next Livingston County ROSC meeting is Thursday, June 6th. Same link. I will send that out earlier next month. How's that? I think everyone would probably be good with that. And let's also be mindful that on July's meeting will be the 11th. It will be the second Thursday in-person meeting, hybrid meeting. We will continue to put that together. And next month, we'll have all of the details for that July meeting to do something in person and, get to socialize a little bit and sit around a large table or a bunch of small tables put together, however that looks. We'll get that figured out. Any questions anytime, please email me, call me, text me, be happy to help. And thank you all for the successes that are taking place in Livingston County. This is all about hands and feet, and all of you individuals are doing an amazing job to get the word out there, to get the ROSC known in the county, and to continue to build these sustainable resources that we set out. We're going on 3 years. So that's pretty amazing. Thank you all for that opportunity to help bring this together and for all of your hard work. So with that being said, we'll have about 7 minutes back in our time for lunch or something, whatever that entails, or go outside. It looks like it's great out there. So thank you all very much. Have a great afternoon.